Hi friends!
Today we're going to talk about why it can be so hard to forgive ourselves and how shame can really block us from being able to move forward from things that happened a long time ago.
So we're actually going to each briefly share a story of like the most vivid memory that we have that has impacted our abilities to forgive ourselves for something that happened many, many years ago.
Preface, this is one of the harder videos for us to make because we're sharing a real life story that happened for each of us.
Absolutely. So there may be some tears, not sure. We'll see what happens. So the story that I'm going to share is one that happened when Julia and I were in high school. You guys know from watching the videos on us growing up with divorced parents that I grew up in a single parent household until I was 15 and my mom got married to my stepdad. At that time, there was a lot of chaos going on in my life. I was in like a very severe depression and a lot of self-destructive behaviors and really, really struggling horribly emotionally. And I ended up moving into the city, into New York City, with my dad and my stepmom and my baby brother, who was a baby then. And instead of living on Long Island and going to high school on Long Island, I lived in Manhattan and went to high school on Long Island.
She commuted every single day.
I didn't talk to my mom for, I would say, like half of junior year and almost all of senior year of high school. And I didn't talk to my sister and I didn't talk to my family. The vivid memory I have is of our high school graduation. I didn't want my mom there. I like made a huge deal about like, I don't want my mom there. And she at one point was like, I don't really care if you want me there or not. Graduation is there. Everybody is like, after graduation, they're in the little
like outside area.
Yep.
Like everyone's just like schmoozing
with their families,
exactly,
taking pictures, all of that stuff. And I remember being with my dad and my stepmom, my little brother, and my sister was there. And then I saw my mom. I don't recall exactly what set me off, but I know that I like screamed at my mom. Oh no. I remember like screaming at my mom and like embarrassing her in front of, whether all these people saw or heard or not, it still just like sticks with me, like how mean I was to her. And this was over 11 years ago, you know? But I just felt like I like ripped her apart and that was like so not fair. And I was in a really bad place in my life, like a terrible, terrible place in my life. And I just remember like the look on her face, and it just like to this day, I remember the look on her face. And this is like something that I talked about with my mom and she forgives me, but I have a very hard time forgiving myself. And Julia and I have spoken about this, that like each of us have these specific situations where we're like, why can't we forgive ourselves? Like, why do we forgive others?
Yes.
But it's so hard for us to forgive ourselves, you know? Like I've had conversations with my mom since then.
And Sherry has forgiven Jen completely. Sherry doesn't think about this event or moment, but Jen does, and it still weighs on you.
Yeah, it really, really does. So that is one of the things, like even this could be like an accountability thing. I want to work on that. So that's like my goal. Maybe that's like my 2019 goal.
I like that.
To like work on that.
I like that a lot.
So now that I've had some tears,
so
your turn.
So for me, I will never forget this one argument that we had. It was right before Sarah moved to Portland, and it was right before she moved across the country. And I was in college and I was getting ready to drive back from Long Island to Buffalo, and that gave me a lot of anxiety. And I was dating someone that lived in Westchester at the time, and we kind of had this like routine that like I would drive there the night before we would drive back to Buffalo so that we could stay over in Westchester and then do the drive from Westchester to Buffalo, so that it cut out kind of like an hour-ish of my drive. So Sarah asked me, will you please not drive to Westchester, and will you please stay on Long Island so that we can have one last night together as like sisters before I go across the country. And I didn't. And I left and I went to Westchester because I was so anxious to get back and I was so anxious to stick to my plan. And I will never forget, we started yelling at each other on the phone while I was driving there, and Sarah said, like, I will never forgive you for not being able to move your plan when your sister tells you she needs you. And it still, like, to this day, that one quality of me of being so rigid in my plan and not being able to shift it if I feel like people need me to, that is something that brings me so much shame. And it makes me feel like, why is that so hard for me? It's something that, whether it's true or not, I perceive other people as being able to do that so easily, which I know is probably not true for so many people. But I think when we are sitting in the depths of our shame, we look at other people and we're like, what's wrong with me? It seems like everyone can do this one thing that I can't. That's why we wanted to just make ourselves raw with you guys to say we are constantly working on these things, and these things happened for both of us more than 10 years ago, and it's still something that we hold on to.
Take the theme of each one of our situations. So like my theme being sometimes when I would get angry, I would say a lot of stuff I didn't mean. And a lot of that stuff you can't take back. And so that's something that, like, the theme of mine, it's like I'll say something and I'll be like, damn it, I shouldn't have said that. So like that's the theme of mine. And yours is the rigidity and trying to like let go of that. Like, we're both type A, but it's like letting go of that real type A personality trait of needing to always have a set schedule.
The more I soften and the more I'm able to be flexible and go with the flow, the better everything goes, because I'm loving myself more, because I'm seeing myself doing the work of being more flexible and not being so rigid. And
which goes right into the video that we're making on tips to reduce anxiety.
Yes.
Like, it all circles back around.
Really
like
does.
Julia having some mindfulness practice in the morning is what helps her not be so rigid and always on schedule. And for me, that sense of control is when I feel like I'm triggered by something, I bring my car and I get in my car and I leave, because I have the power to do that. It circles back around to like how we can help ourselves reduce our anxiety. And that's like, I love it when it comes full circle.
It really is. It's so good. So please, you guys, make sure that you go watch that video that we made about a tip to reduce your anxiety. Something you're holding on to that you are struggling to forgive yourself. We understand if you don't want to put it all in the comments, but shoot us a direct message on Instagram so that we can connect and share these in every video. It's just constant work.
It's doing the work. It's
going
on the journey, and we want to go on it with you.
We do. So if you guys enjoy this video,
give it a thumbs up.
Hit the thumbs up and hit the bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Hi, friend.
Every time. Okay, I'm ready.
And how sometimes we sit with a lot of shame about things that happened a long time ago. And that's it. Okay.